So guys, today we are going to discuss one of the important concept that is role-based authentication. Till now, what we have discussed, please have a look. So till now we have discussed how to manage the role. So basically we have discussed how you can create role, how you can update role. Also we have discussed that users management. In users management, we have also discussed right how to assign or how to manage roles for users. So here you can see you can set role, you can manage role, whatever you want you can do. Till now, we have discussed this thing. So today, what is our main agenda? Main agenda is role-based access control. So what we are going to discuss in today's session, we'll discuss first of all what is a role, what is role-based access control, what is authentication and authorization, why we need role-based access control, what do we mean by access denied, how to implement role-based authentication and authorization in ASP.NET Core MVC using identity. We'll also discuss what happens when a user try to access a page for which they have not authorized. We'll also discuss how to configure the access denied page in our ASP.NET Core MVC application similar to the login page. We'll also discuss how we can implement role-based authorization in the views. Not only we can apply the concept within the action methods, but also it is possible to apply the same concept in the view, how we can do this. And finally, we are also going to discuss how to show and hide menus based on the user role. So if the user role is this one, we need to show this menu. If not, then don't show this menu. So that is what we are going to discuss in today's session. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. So what is a role? So first of all, we need to understand what is a role. So without role, what is happening? Right? So basically, a role is nothing but a group or named group that represent a set of permissions. Sir, what do you mean by named group that represent a set of permissions? For example, in your application, what you want to provide a different kind of permissions. Like someone, right, a set of members, they want to perform insert operation, update operation, delete operation. Some want to create some kind of a report. Some want to manage some order processing task, right? So basically, there are a different kind of permissions are there, and what we need to do exactly now for again without using this role-based access control, what we need to do, we need to provide these permissions to the users directly. For example, let assume that there is some admin members are there. They want to manage the product inventory. Product inventory means they want to create the product, they want to update the product information, they want to provide some kind of bulk insert update, they want to manage the order processing, updating the right order status. So these things. So there are a different kind of permissions. Similarly, there are some other kind of a vendor. Vendor means those who are going to sell product on your application. So there are again different kind of permissions are there. So now you can imagine, right? If this role-based authentication or role-based access control is not there, then what we need to do for each user, we need to add all these set of permissions, and it is very difficult, very time-consuming. Sir, what is the difficult? Why it is time-consuming? Why it is error-prone? Let assume there are 100 users, and for each user you have assigned, for each user is going to be assigned with a some set of permissions, 5 permission, 10 permissions, like this. Tomorrow you want to update the permissions, tomorrow you want to change the permission, again you have to find all the user one by one and you have to update the permission. So to overcome this problem, what exactly we need to do, we need to create a role. This role is nothing but going to contain a set of permissions. For example, admin role is there. Admin role means he can perform insert, update, delete, whatever. Manager role is there. He can only view the reports. Customer role is there. His main responsibility is to purchase the product. Vendor is there. Vendor role is there. Who is going to manage the product, what he wants to sell. So basically, what we need to do, we need to create role. In each role, we need to provide set of permissions. And then instead of assigning these permissions to the user, what we need to do, we need to provide access the roles to the user. So whatever the roles we created, we need to assign to the right, what I can say, user. For example, let assume admin role is there. In the admin role, currently what we are doing, we are providing some kind of permissions. Like the admin can create a new user, the admin can update the user, the admin can view the report. And currently, This admin role we assign to type user. Tomorrow, what we want to do is we want to update the permission. We also want the admins to delete the user, or even if you want to restrict that report viewing report from the admin user. And in that case, you do not need to go to the what I can say individual users. What you need to do, go to the admin role. Whatever the permission you want to remove, you can remove, and that is what. And once you remove, then whoever all users they are assigned with the admin role, that permissions is automatically going to be updated. So that is the benefit of right what I can say role. Now if you take the real time applications, now if you take the real time application, let's take the example of a university. In university, the student can view the course details and they can verify what grades they are getting. The teacher can manage the assignment and whoever write grade students. Admin can manage the whole system. Again, if you take the example of a bank transfer, so cashier, their main responsibility is going to deposit and withdraw for customer. Manager is going to approve the loan and oversee the staff information. So basically, each role is nothing but you can say set of responsibility, or you can say set of permissions, and each role is going to define what the user can do and what the user cannot do. That is what going to be defined by the roles. Clear?
Yes.
Right? And in our ASP.NET Core identity table, whatever the roles we created, they are going to store inside this roles table. We have already created the users. That information you can find in the users table, and one user can have one or more roles, and that user roles information you can find in the user roles table. Clear? So these things we have already discussed. How to create a user, how to create a role, and how we can assign one and more roles to a particular user. That is what we have discussed. And that screen you can see here, manage roles. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. Right.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
now, now we need to understand, right, why we are going to introduce this role-based authentication. So basically, for the purpose of authorization. So before understanding authorization, first of all, we need to understand two things. What are the things? Authentication and the authorization. Guys, remember, authentication is always comes first, then only authorization. Sir, what do you mean by authentication? Authentication means simply it is going to ask the question, who are you? If you want to enter to the office premises, who are you? Do you have the office identity? If yes, then you are allowed to enter into the company or enter into the office. If you don't have the identity, you cannot enter. So authentication means this is the process of verifying the identity of a user. So for example, let assume, right, I have already given this example, right, in the case of authentication and authorization. Let us also have a look. For example, this is your company premises. If you want to enter into the company premises on the right at the time of entrance, there is some kind of a biometric or fingerprint machine is there. So in that machine, what you need to do, you have to verify yourself. You have to punch your fingerprint or biometric, whatever the authentication mechanism is there. That what you need to enter. If you are a valid employee for this company, then that validation will be successful, and in that case, it will allow you to enter into the company. If you are not a valid employee, then you will never, or it will not allow you to enter into the company premises. So how it is exactly working technically? So technically, if you look at this, so in that case, so whenever you authenticate means you need to provide some kind of a credential. That might be your email address, password, phone number, OTP based. Different kind of authentication mechanisms are there. Let assume you provide your username and password. Then whatever the username password you provided at the time of authentication, it will go and check in the database. It will check whether the provided credentials are valid or not. If valid, then access granted. If invalid, then access denied. In that case, you will not allow to enter into the office premises. Clear? What do you mean by authentication?
Yes.
Okay. Now let us try to understand authorization. See, authorization is basically going to tell what can you do. See, authentication, who are you? Authentication, What can you do? So authentication means it is going to decide whether you are a valid user or not. Authorization means definitely you are going to be valid user. As a valid user, what are the tasks you are allowed to do within the system? What are the tasks you are not allowed to do within the system? That is what going to decide by the authorization. For example, first of all, that biometrics is there, authentication is happening. Once the authentication is done, then you enter into the company premises. Within the company, there are a different section: reception, HR, accounts, cafeteria, server room, admin room. So, as a employee, what is your role? Are you right? What is your role? What is your role means? Are you the admin? Are you the manager? Are you an employee? Are you the IT infra, right? Account department, HR? What is your role and responsibility? So based on your role and responsibility, you are allowed to enter specific section within the company. For example, right? You are just right. I mean, you are not HR. So for example, you are HR room. So HR room, there is no right, what I can say, a requirement to enter into the server room. So infrastructure, those who are managing the infrastructure, they are allowed to enter into this room. So basically account section, anybody cannot enter into the account section. So basically what exactly it means, again you can see that cafeteria, anyone can enter into the cafeteria. Anyone can enter into the reception. So basically what you need to understand is based on your job role, or you can say simply role, what are the sections you are allowed to enter, that is going to be determined by the concept called authorization. Authentication, you must be valid employee. Authorization, what are the sections within the company or infrastructure you are allowed to enter right now. If you think this practically or technically, so first of all, authorization, right? What are allowed to you do? So first of all, authentication. After authentication, once the authentication is completed, it is going to check your right. So what roles you are assigned with? As per your assigned role, do you allowed to access that particular page, access that particular resource? Yes, allowed. Okay, access granted. Not allowed. Okay, return 403, access denied, error case. Clear? Clear or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
this part, this authorization part, what we are discussing, that is nothing but your role-based access control. So basically, so in this case, there are different ways. One is claim-based access control. Another one is role-based access control. So in the case of what is claim-based access control, we will discuss tomorrow. That complete story altogether, we'll understand from the beginning, from the day one. But now, what we are going to keep focus is role-based access control. So we have discussed what we discussed. Now we can create users, we can create roles, and we can assign roles to user. So what exactly RBAC? RBAC means role-based access control. RBAC means controlling who can do what. So RBAC means controlling who can do what. So basically, RBAC is a security mechanism that restricts system access based on the individual roles. So whatever the roles given to you, based on your roles, it is going to give access or it is going to restrict access to some resources, right? So let us try to understand. So first of all, if you want to implement RBAC or role-based authorization, you should have to define some kind of roles. Roles are nothing but you can consider some kind of a string constant in the database, like admin role, manager role, user role. So once you have the role, then you need to assign this role to user. Let's assume there are two users, one is John, another one is Sarah. John is assigned with the admin role, Sarah is assigned with the user role. So John is admin role, Sarah is user role. So once this is done, then in this case, in the case of a role-based access control, what exactly it is going to do? Now, before accessing the resource, a resource in this case, if you are taking if you are taking the example of ASP.NET Core Web API, it is a action method, right, which is going to process the data, return the data. In case of MVC application, the same thing, but here also we are going to have some kind of a web pages. So basically, if the John as a user trying to access the admin dashboard, then he can access, and whether this user John can access the admin dashboard or not, that check is going to be performed in the server, and that check is nothing but based on the check we are going to grant access whether this user can access the dashboard or not. If that is what we are going to do is nothing but role-based access control. So based on the role, we are going to check whether this particular user can access this dashboard. So in the server, we need to ensure that this is the admin dashboard, and this dashboard can only be accessible by the user who are having the role admin. Clear? At the same time, if you see the Sara user, Sara is a user, is a member, customer, whatever you tell, whatever you consider, the role is user. And he tried to access the admin dashboard. Can he access? No. Why? Because the user, whatever assigned to Sara, doesn't permit him or her, whatever, access the admin dashboard. And in that case, that restriction is going to be provided by this role-based access control. If this role-based access control is not there, anyone can access any pages within the system. Clear? Right? If
Yes.
you take the real-time example, so doctor can view and update patient's record. Nurses can update observation but cannot prescribe medicine. Receptionist can only register patient. So basically, as per the role and responsibility provided, they can perform different kind of operations. So receptionist cannot update the doctor information, nurse cannot do the job of a receptionist as well as a doctor. So basically each role can have a specific set of responsibility, and that responsibility can is going to be determined by using this concept called a role-based access control. Clear?
Yes.
Right. Then why do we need role-based access control? Let us try to observe, right? Let's assume our organization have 100,000 users. Creating these permissions and assigning to them individually is very time consuming and very error prone. So why I'm going to assign permission, 10 permissions to one by one to each individual user? What is the problem? The problem is you might forget to assign some of the roles to a particular user. The problem is whenever you want to update the right group of users with some kind of additional permission, again it is going to be a very difficult task. So without RBAC, it's going to be very difficult for us to manage this kind of a responsibility. But with the RBAC, it's very easy. So what we need to do, we need to assign roles to users, and roles are going to have some kind of a permissions. And based on the permissions, we can give access to the resources. So what are the benefit you will get? Security. So ensure user cannot access sensitive feature not meant for them. So in this case, if you are admin user, you can only access the admin resources. As a non-admin user, you cannot access the admin resources. So maintainability, you can consider easier to manage permissions via role instead of setting them individual. So now what we need to do, for example, 100 user there, and out of 100 user, 20 user having this create permission. Now what I need to do, now I want to remove this create permission from all those 20 users. Then what I need to do, I need to go to each individual user. I need to remove that permission. So which is going to very time consuming. But with RBS, what I need to do, that permission is given to role. From the role only, I need to remove that permission. And once I remove that permission from the role, then what will happen? The user is ultimately that permission is going to be removed from the role because we are assigning roles to user. Then third thing is scalability. As the application grows, roles can be updated to manage new permissions, right? For example, currently you are having this 5 roles or 10 roles. Tomorrow you want to introduce some new roles, you can easily enhance. Right? You just need to create a new role and assign that new roles to the right independent whoever the user they wants that role, just assign that roles to those set of users. And again, guys, remember many industries, specifically the banking, healthcare, insurance, they require strict access control. So if you're working with the e-commerce application, if you're working with the banking, healthcare system, insurance domain, right, then this RBAC is very, very important. Clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So now, what
Yes.
what what is access denied? Let us try to observe what we mean by access denied. See, In this case, access denied means it is a security concept you can consider. So in that concept, what exactly happening? Now, if you are trying to access a page, access denied means what? You are an authenticated user but not authorized. So what exactly it means? For example, you took a basic plan in what I can say Netflix. You take a basic plan in the Netflix. So using basic plan, you cannot access the ultra HD features. So similarly means what? Means you are authenticated user, but you are not authorized to access that particular resources. So that is nothing but access it denied. So you are authenticated but not authorized. So how to implement this in our ASP.NET Core application? First of all, you need to define roles. Yes, we have already defined the roles functionality. You can see that roles management is there where we have already discussed how to create a role, how to edit the role, how to view the role details, how to check whoever the users are currently assigned with this role. So we have already done this thing. Assign roles to user. Yes, we have already done this thing. So here you can see this is my user. For each individual user, whatever role you want to assign, you can assign that also we have discussed. Next, what we need to do, we need to restrict access using attributes. So currently what we are discussing, what you are using, only the authorized attribute. So now if you see the users controller, it is the authorized attribute. So if you see the roles controller, again it is going to be the authorized attribute. So currently only authorized attribute means what? Only authentication is there, no authorization. No authorization means what? It means any authenticated user can access anything within the application. So there is no such right permission level restriction. So that permission level restriction, if you want to implement, then what you need to do, you have to use the authorized attribute, and to this authorized attribute, you can specify the roles. So whatever the roles you can specify, and guys remember there are different ways to implement this authorized attribute. One is this role-based authentication. Another one that is more granular, you can consider that is a claim-based authentication or policy-based. That is what we will discuss tomorrow. So policy-based we'll discuss tomorrow. So I'm not going to touch that concept at this point of time, but yes, I will explain that policy-based authorization also in detail. So what are the things we need to do now? Now we need to provide a restriction based on the authorized attribute. So how? What are the different ways to apply this authorized attribute? So based on the scenario, right, you need to use this one. For example, let assume, let assume currently this users controller, currently this users controller, not this is not the users controller, yes. So currently this users controller is decorated with authorized attribute. What exactly it means? It means this authorized attribute will be applicable to all the independent method, to all the methods that what defined within this controller or not. So whenever we apply a attribute at the class level, means that attribute is applicable to all the methods within that class. So in this case, this authorized attribute by default applicable to all these action methods. That is the right what I can say asymptotically, or you can say that is the main objective of applying the attribute at the controller level. So when you want one attribute to be available throughout all the action methods, then it is better to apply that attribute at the controller level instead of applying that attribute individually at each action methods. Clear?
Yes.
Right. Now,
Yes.
what we need to understand? Right? For example, so this let's assume this authorized attribute is applied at the controller level. So means authentication is required for all the action methods, but not authorization. So how you can implement authorization? Let us try to observe. Let assume some of the action method, right? Some of the action methods you want to give access public. Public means there is no authentication authorization required. Anyone can access. Anyone can access means whether the user authenticated, they can access. Authorized user, they can access. Non-authenticated user, they can also access. Means you can consider the public pages. For example, the home page, about page, contact page, product listing page, FAQ page. These are some of the pages which can be accessed by anyone. So if anyone can access those pages means authentication authorization nothing is required, then what you need to do, you need to decorate those resources with a allow anonymous attribute. Clear? So if any public endpoint you need to create, then what you need to do, that endpoint you need to decorate with the allow anonymous. Guys, I'm showing the syntax first, then I will show you this thing practically in our application. So if someone asks you in the interview how, right, one controller is there, that controller is decorated with the authorized attribute, but some of the action method I want to make it publicly available. How I can achieve this? Then in that case, you need to tell those action methods which is needs to be accessible publicly, anyone can access, then those action methods we need to decorate with the allow anonymous attribute. So this allow anonymous attribute will explicitly override the attribute what is applied at the controller level. So this is going to have, right, higher precedence over the authorized attribute. Clear?
Yes.
And again, you need to apply this attribute only if that authorized attribute is applied. If the authorized attribute is not at the controller level, then applying this allow anonymous attribute is optional. By default, anybody can access. Clear?
Yes.
Clear or not? Right? Similarly. Now, so suppose some of the action method is there which can be accessible without any kind of a, what I can say, roles. So any authenticated user, no role required. Any authenticated user they can access. Then in that case, what you need to do, you simply need to decorate this authorized attribute, and that is what we are already doing. Now, for example, some panel, admin panel is there, user management system is there, role management system is there, some system configurations is there, right? So different panel is there. And what is our requirement? Our requirement is only the authenticated user with the admin role, they can access these resources. Then in that case, what you need to do, you need to use this authorized attribute, but along the authorized attribute, you need to use this roles property, and to this roles property, you need to specify the admin role, whatever the role. So in this case, admin role, it can be user role. For example, user dashboard. User dashboard means you have to decorate it with the user role. Vendor dashboard, you have to decorate it with the vendor role. Clear?
Yes.
Clear or? Okay.
Yes, clear.
Actually,
Now,
one question: where to define the role?
where to define the role means?
Means which in database where to define the role, or how come?
So we have already defined the roles here, na? So we
Okay,
are
okay.
using the entity database. So, right, are you attending the session for the first time?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, no
So
issue.
basically, this is the concept of ASP.NET Core identity. So in ASP.NET Core identity, we have already created all these tables. And inside this table, this is the roles table where this role is defined.
Okay,
That
okay,
role
okay,
is
sure.
defined,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So now, right, for example, sometimes what happens, now some of the action method, not only admin user, but also the manager user, but also the customer, right? Because basically some of the action method, you need to provide multiple different kind of a role. So for example, let assume we are having one action method, and that action method, or you can say that resource, I need to be accessible by two types of user. One is admin user, another one is manager. So basically, what exactly it means? If the user having the role admin, he can access that resource or page. If the user having the role manager, he can also access the page. If that is what your requirement, then what you need to do, you need to give multiple permissions, right, or multiple roles using separated by comma. So here you can see admin is admin, comma, separate. So basically, for example, if you are working in your company, so your admin, I mean your manager or your manager's manager, they can approve your request. So in that case, you can provide some kind of logic like this: admin, comma, manager. So in this case, the user who is trying to access this resource, if that user having either the admin role or the manager role, anyone is fine, they can access this one. Clear? Comma means it is basically the or condition. If the user having the admin role or the manager role, they can access this endpoint. Clear?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Now, sometimes we see this and is rarely used, not used. You can also consider that in order to access the resource, the user must have two roles. Very less scenario, very less common, not used in the industry. But if that requirement comes, right, then what you need to do, you have to decorate the action method twice. So this authorized attribute needs to be decorated with it twice. So one is roles admin, another one is roles manager. In this case, what is happening that the user who is having both admin role and manager role, they can access. If one role is available, admin is role is there but not manager, or manager role is there but not admin, then he cannot access. So in this case, the user must have both the roles, and in this case, any role is fine to access this resource. Clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Clear. Okay.
Yes.
Now let us proceed and understand how to implement this in our application. So basically, in our users controller, we are having different views. What are the views? You can see currently we are having 6 pages. What are the pages? Index page and the details page. Index page and the details page means these 2 pages. So if you go to users, this is my index page and this is my details page. So what is my requirement? My requirement is any authenticated user, they can access to these 2 pages. Any authenticated user, they can access these 2 pages. No role is required. What is my second condition? That the create method and the delete method needs to be accessible by the role called admin. For example, if you see in this case, if you go to this page, so create and delete. So I'm just giving, so in real time that is going to be decided by the admin, right? You will get the peer DPR, accordingly you need to manage. So in this case, admin creating a new user and right, what I can say, and deleting this new user needs to be performed by the admin user only. If the role admin, then he can perform. Edit edit user means it is going to be or condition. If the user having either admin role or manager role, he can perform the edit operation. So in this case, if you see that edit button is there, so this page needs to be accessible by both admin and the manager. And the manager manage roles means, see in this case, this edit means if the user having either the admin role or the manager role, he can do this operation. But coming to this manage roles, it can only be performed by the user. Okay, let's change this scenario, because this is what we are going to use many times. So basically what we are doing here, now edit means you must have both the roles, and manage roles means you have any one role is fine, either admin role or manager role. So this is what we want to achieve. Clear? What is your requirement? Clear or not?
Yes, it's clear.
So now let me take these things and let me start with this one. So now index page. Okay, let assume this authorized attribute is there. If you want, you can remove from there and you can also apply this on individual. So what is our requirement? Index action method and details action method. They can be accessed by anyone, but that user must be authenticated. So here I need to apply the authorized attribute. And again, what I need to do, I need to apply the authorized attribute here also. Clear? Clear or not?
Yes.
Authorized means only the user needs to be authenticated. No roles required. So what is the next? Create method and delete method needs to be accessible by the user called admin. I mean, the user must have the admin role. So how we can do this thing? So go to the create post and create get method. So this is my create post method, right? Get method. So what I need to do? I have to decorate this admin, authorize. So what is the role? Roles is going to be admin.
Admin.
Clear? Right? And next, what I need to do? I need to also apply the same thing in the post action method. Not only this not only this create, but also delete needs to be done by the admin user. So go to the delete endpoint. So this is going to be admin. This is also going to be admin. Clear?
Yes.
Clear? Okay. Now, edit needs to be done by both admin and manager. So here is the edit get mod method. This is my edit get method. So here, what I need to do, I need to apply both admin and manager. So name needs to be same. So admin and manager. These two things again I need to apply in the postman. So in this case, what is required? Now the user must have both admin and manager roles. Clear? Clear or
Yes.
not?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what is the next thing? Next thing is here we are. Okay, manage role. Manage role needs to be accessible by either admin or manager. So let me go to the manage roles page. This is my manage roles page. So it must be admin or manager. Let me copy these two things
Manager.
also. So with this, what happening now? Our role-based authentication is done, but not in SE. Along with the role-based, that a claim-based is also coming into the picture in the next. In tomorrow we are going to discuss. But for time being, but for now, this is how we can apply role-based authentication to our action method. So with these changes, let us proceed and see whether we are able to do the operations or not. Okay. So now if you go to the users, so this is fine now. So currently, okay, let me search. Currently we are logging as a Pranay user. So let me go ahead. So currently I'm accessing using this Pranay. So check what are the roles. So currently you can see access denied. Why access denied? Okay, let me first check what roles we currently provided. I'm not sure what role is assigned. So that is the reason why I'm unable to access this page. Okay, let me go ahead and check what are the roles assigned to this two user, which I'm going to use to write. So let me go ahead and search Pranay user. So Pranay Kumar 777. Let me go ahead and manage. So currently you can see only user. So let me give this user all the roles I'm providing to this user. Okay, fine. Back to list. Another Pranay user is there. This is the Pranay user. Let me go ahead and only give this manager role. So currently this user is having only manager role. So two users we have created now. Now for this Pranay Kumar 777, okay, that's fine. We have done. Now we can uncomment these things. Okay. Let me run the application one more time. And this time I'm going to show you the functionality. Why? Because we should have proper roles and proper user. Pranay Kumar 7. Pranay Kumar 7, right? Using this user, again, I'm getting this access denied. Why? It is fine. Admin role is fine. We have given. Let me log out and log in. Why? Because right, until and unless you are not logged out, that the earlier roles are going to be there. So if you are facing this issue, what you need to do? You just need to log out and log in. So once you again log in, then what will happen? Now that user roles are going to be updated. So now if you use, you should not see this kind of issues. So you can click on this one. You can go to the details page. You can click on this edit page, you can click on this manage page, and you can also click on this delete page. Every page is accessible to this user Pranay. Why it is accessible? Because this user Pranay having both the roles. So here you can see admin manager, both roles are assigned, so he can access. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in using the Pranay Kumar 777 user, which is only having the role admin. Sorry, which is going to only role that is manager. Okay, let me give you a correct password. See now if you go to this page, right now, if you see when I click on this add button, it is not working. So details page is working. Why details page is working? Can anybody tell me? This details page is accessible to this user. Why? Because for this page, do I need any role?
No.
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 That is the reason why it is
So
working.
anonymous. Anonymous.
So in this case, edit, it is not working. Why? For the edit page, what role is required?
Admin.
Manager, right? Even for the edit page, admin. See here, what role we have provided? Both manager and admin. Currently, what role this user has? Guys, tell me.
Manager.
User.
Currently, only manager role, right? If you look, go ahead and check this user, right? Pranay. So currently, this Pranay Kumar 777, it is only having which role? Manager.
Manager.
But for the edit page, what role is required?
Admin
Both
and
manager
admin
and
manager both.
and is required. So that is the reason why he is unable to access this page. Clear? So that functionality is working as expected or not?
Yes.
So whatever the authorization
Yes.
attribute we define, and as per our requirement, everything is working as expected. Clear?
Yes.
Clear or not?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Now what we need to do, we need to understand some advanced concept. So what advanced concept? Now in in interview, the interviewer might be ask you this question: what happens when a user try to access a page they are not authorized to? For example, if you are trying to access a page and for which you do not have right authorized, then what will happen? See again, here two scenario will come into the picture. First of all, you need to check whether the user is authenticated. If the user is not authenticated, then what will happen? It will return 401 unauthorized. Means in that case, it will redirect the user to the login page. If the user is authenticated, then what will happen? It will return 403 forbidden. And in this case, mostly it will be redirected to some access denied page. The access denied page is going to be right, something looks like this one. Clear?
Yes.
Right? If the user is authenticated, he will be, if the user is not authenticated, he will be redirected to the login page. For example, in this case, let assume logout. So now this secure method is there, secure page is there. For this page, authentication is required. So once I click, I'm redirecting to the login page. So if I'm authenticated, but I'm not authorized to access that particular page, in that case, it should redirect me to some access denied page. Clear? Clear or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Right now. So how to set this thing, right? By default, this access denied is set. For example, if you look at this, right, Pranay Kumar. See, by default, it is redirecting to which page? Guys, tell me. Account controller access denied page, and whatever the URL you are trying to access, that is coming as part of the return URL. So currently, why I'm getting this error page, right? Why? Because I don't have any access denied action method. Who is putting this message? Right. So, right, my voice is not muted. It might be because of your system, right? Because everyone, guys, I'm audible to all of you.
Yes, sir. Audible, sir. Clearly.
Yes. Sir.
Okay. So it might be their machine, their system issue, right? So basically, right, if you look at this page, now when I'm not authorized to access any particular action method, then by default, it is redirecting, right? The MVC framework is redirecting me to the account controller access denied page. And currently in my account controller, that access denied page, I mean that action method is available or not? Do we have any access denied page method? No. See, login method is there. That's fine. But in this case, there is no access denied. So let us proceed and do this thing. First of all, so like this login account login path, we can also set the access denied path. So let us go ahead and do first of all do these two things. First of all, we have already done this thing login path, and now I need to provide the access denied path. Here, by default, this is account controller access denied. If you want to provide a different action method, that is also fine. For example, I want to redirect it to the login page. That's fine. So in that case, it will be redirected to the login page. So let us prove this whether it is working fine or not. So with these changes, let me run the application and go to this one and go to this one. So it is redirecting me to the login page. But does it make sense if the user is authenticated, right? I mean, if the user is not authenticated, redirecting to the login page makes sense. If the user is already logged in, again redirecting to the login page does not make any sense. So in that case, what I need to do, I need to redirect the user to the access denied page, right page. So let us proceed and create the access denied method within the account controller. So let me go to the account controller, and just below here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create my access denied. So again, this return URL is optional. If you are capturing this return URL, that's fine. In that case, whatever the page you are trying to access, that URL it is going to store here. And that URL also, right? What I'm doing here, I'm storing in the viewback. Why? Because I want to show this URL in the screen. So once this is done, next what I need to do, I need to create the corresponding view. So let me go ahead. And again, guys, remember this page needs to be accessible to anyone. Anyone means you can say I'm decorating this page with allow anonymous. So now go to the, now create a view. That view name is going to be same access denied. And that view I'm going to create with this. Okay. So here I'm going to provide, right? You can see this is my viewback.return URL. And this return URL must be a local URL. Otherwise, I'm not going to show this thing. It must be a local URL. So this is my access denied page. Whatever the textual information you want to display, you can display. If it is a local URL, then you can also show the URL. And here you can see I'm also going to provide some kind of a help text. Help text means what? Now, if the application currently running on the development environment, I mean, in your local machine or in the dev environment, then why this error occurred? That error detailed information I want to show. So for that purpose, what I'm doing here, I'm using this is development. It is going to return me true if the environment is development. Here you can see what is the username, whether the user is authenticated, what are the roles, right? The user is assigned with. That what all this information I have shown here, so that the developer can take necessary action why this particular role is not accessed this particular page, so that they can write check and they can fix the issue. So with these changes, now let me run the application and see whether this time it is redirecting me to the access denied page or not. So now click on this one and click on this edit button. And here you can see this is my access denied page. Here it is providing some switch account, go back, go home, whatever. And this message, the user is trying to access this page for which he doesn't have any permission. And this debug details, it is only going to be visible on the development environment. In this case, it is saying the user is this one, authenticated is true. Whatever the roles the user is assigned with this one, and this URL is blocked for this user. Clear? Is that
Yes.
clear? Okay.
That is for development only.
Sorry?
For development. If environment is development.
Yeah. Does it make sense to show this information in the production?
No.
Not required. So that's what you need to see. Here we are not learning the right, what I can say, basic things. So as per the industry standard, what is the best practices? That is what we are learning. Okay, fine. So now one more thing I need to right. We need to understand. In this case, if the user doesn't have permissions to go to this edit page, if the user doesn't have permissions to go to or view this edit page or this manage roles, right, or whatever it may be, then why I'm going to show this, what I can say, button? Does it make sense to show this button in the view if the user doesn't have permission for this particular view? Why should I show this button? Is it a
Doesn't
good
make
practice
sense.
for this button,
No, no.
or we should avoid, or we
Can
should hide
disable
it?
it. Disable it or hide it.
Yes, disabling the button is necessary. So not only we need to apply the role-based authorization in the controller action method, 100% we need to apply that controller action validation, but it also good user experience to apply this role-based authorization in the views also. So let us proceed and see how we can do this thing in our application. So basically, in the view, first of all, we need to check whether the user is authenticated or not by using this user.identity.is authenticated, and then user that is in role, whatever the role name I need to pass, and this is going to check whether the user currently, once the user is authenticated, does this authenticated user having this particular role or not. If it is having this role, then that corresponding view is going to be displayed. So let us proceed and do this thing. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the changes in the right, what I can say, in the menus. So menus in the sense, go ahead and update the layout page. See, currently I'm not implementing any role-based check within the application. Now I'm going to implement the role-based. So first of all, here you can see is authenticated. It's a Boolean variable. If the user is authenticated, that is going to be true. Otherwise, it is false. I- This is admin. If the current user is having the admin role, if the current user having the managerial role, and if the user having both admin and manager, in that case, it is going to be its staff. So in this case, what I need to do, please observe. Now this roles management option, I need to show to the admin user. So in this case, currently, why that roles option is not showing? Okay. So currently, right, whatever the changes we have done, that is already takes effect here. So that is the reason why it is not showing. So what is our requirement? Now, if the user is admin, that roles button I'm going to show. If the user having both admin or role manager, I mean either the admin role or manager role, then I'm going to show this users menu. So in the menu, you can see I'm going to show, right, based on the role. If the user having a particular, for example, okay, let me go ahead and log out this one. So currently you can see for Pranay Kumar 777, that roles menu is not showing. Now I'm logging with Pranay Kumar 7. So which is having both admin and a managerial role. So in that case, you can see both roles and the users menu are showing or not. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So basically, if a
Yes,
particular
it's
user
fine.
doesn't have access to roles management, then why should I show that roles menu? Does it make sense? No. So if he has permission, then only we need to show the menu. 100% that client side validation is working or not working, server side validation is there, but at the same time, to give a better user experience, good user experience, we also need to show and hide the navigation menus based on the user role. So in this case, if the user having the proper permission and role, then that is going to be visible, otherwise that is going to be invisible. Clear? So this is clear now. Next, what I need to do, I also need to do the same thing in the index page, right? In the roles index page, if you, sorry, in the users index page, these menus I'm going to show and hide based on the roles. So let us do the same thing here also. So go to the user index page, user, sorry, user details page. So this is going to my detail space now. So first of all, you can see is admin, is manager, is staff. So these three things we have already done. So now we need to define. So what we need to define? So what is our requirement? So what requirement means this is going to be our requirement. Okay, let me take this thing. So index and details any authenticated user, right? Can create user. Who can create the user? Only admin. So is admin. Who can edit the user? Admin and manager. So admin and manager. So here what I need to do, I need to apply this one. Edit. Edit is going to be admin and manager. So both role must be held. So can manage roles. So here it is going to be who can manage the role, admin or manager. Clear? Who can delete the user? Clear? Uh, Admin can only delete the user. Who
Admin.
can view the details? Who can view the details? I mean the details page. Anyone can view the details. Clear? Each tab. Each tab means anyone. Admin or manager, right? They can view the details. So here instead of this each admin and manager, you can also put this each tab. Clear? Clear or
Yes.
not? Right.
Yes.
So these are the changes. So action. Okay. So now what I need to do, I need to see currently this add new button. It is going to be visible to admin user, create admin, right? So, okay. So once we have done these changes, everything is going to be there as it is. So we have done these things. So whichever menus are going to be shown and visible, that is going to be decided by these things. So now who can create a user if the corresponding logged in user can create or not. He is admin, then he can create the new user. So here also you can see now. So in this case, the buttons what I provided, admin or manager can view the details. So admin or manager view details, no roles required. So anyone can view details. Admin or manager can edit. Edit means admin and manager. So that we have changed manage role, admin or manager, second manage role. So whatever the boolean variable we define, accordingly that corresponding button is going to be visible. So now you can see all the buttons are visible. Why? Because this user having all the permissions. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in using that Pranay Kumar 777 and see, go to this one. Again, everything is visible here. Why? Am I did anything wrong? Can edit user. This edit button should not be visible here. Okay, let me refresh this one by doing F5. Okay, let me close this application and re-log in. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. We have done the mistake. This is our details page. We have done the changes in the wrong page. This is our user details page. In which page we need to do the changes?
Layout.
It is our index page. So this is our user index page or not? So in the index page, we need to do the changes. Clear?
Yes.
So in this case, this is going to be admin or manager, and can manage roles is going to be done by this one. So manage roles, it is going to be admin or manager, and this is going to be admin and manager. Clear? So these changes we have done. So now come to this point, and now this time should details admin or manager edit admin and manager, manage roles admin or manager. So now you can see that button should not be visible. Clear? Edit and
Yes.
delete buttons are not available. Why? Because for edit and delete button, see for the delete, admin role is the needed. For edit, both admin and manager role is needed. So that is the reason why these two buttons are not visible. And again, you can also see that the create button is not visible. Now, if you log in with the what I can say, Pranay Kumar 7 user, then you will see all these things. Clear? Clear or not?
Yes.
Right? So this is how the claim-based authentication is worked. Anyone having any question? Clear or not?
That's clear.
Anyone having any question, guys?
Thank you.